Hi, everyone. I'm Willow Green, and I'm excited to be here today with Jan Amato, who is the Community Relations Specialist with Emmanuel Hospice, where they're not just about death, they're actually about living their best life. Hi, Jan. How are you?
Hi, Willow. I'm great. How are you doing?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really
Absolutely.
excited to have you here and to share with everyone what is hospice. Let's start there so that we all know what hospice actually is and what it is not.
Okay, perfect. Hospice is a palliative or symptom management approach to end of life care. So, when treatment has failed, when there aren't any more treatments, or when somebody is just tired of going back and forth to the hospital, they can sign on to hospice about 6 months before if their disease trajectory goes on its natural course. And we can just bring all kinds of wonderful things to them to keep them comfortable, to help them reach any goals they might have, or help them live their best life for whatever time they have left. What hospice
That's
is
awesome.
not, yeah,
Yeah.
what hospice is not, and people always are afraid of this. We don't take people from where they live. We serve people wherever they lay their head at night. We don't discontinue everybody's medications when we come on board. And probably most importantly, we don't use morphine right out of the gate. Sometimes we never even have to use morphine. So, morphine, people are afraid of it and they think that that's something that's going to hasten their loved one's death. And there's nothing that hospice does that will hasten somebody's death because that is illegal. So the doses of morphine that we use are very, very small. We start very low, we go very slow, and what we start with would be equivalent of like one Norco, which really doesn't do anything for somebody who's very healthy in that. But it can be enough to just help them breathe better and reduce anxiety and help lower pain. And then we bring along our complementary therapies and services too. So we use a lot of holistic care when we take care of our patients and their families. We have massage therapists on staff, we have music therapists on staff. We can do art legacy where we can leave something for their family to treasure. Patient wishes, we have pet visitors, we have an essential oil program. So, all these things rolled in together is how we can create a plan that fits each individual patient and their family.
Beautiful. So if I'm understanding you correctly, um, hospice is palliative care and supportive care. It's not the ending, and you don't shift the care routine drastically other than work with the current team and the current situation to incorporate comfort versus
Yeah.
fighting to live anymore.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
more of acceptance of where we are and how do we make this comfortable and
Yes.
increase and improve the quality of life while there's still life left.
Yes, that is correct. Yep, absolutely. And it is a covered Medicare benefit. Typically, it's 100% covered. We are caring now for younger and younger people, maybe with cancer. And typically, there's an out of pocket amount that they need to reach before their benefit is in full force. But by the time they come to us, they've usually had multiple hospitalizations or treatments. And most of the time, it is covered. So, yeah.
Wonderful. And when is the best time to actually contact hospice and to start working with hospice?
So, a great time to call us is maybe you are newly diagnosed with something that has a limited prognosis, but you want information upfront. And we talk to people at any point in their disease process. So, a new diagnosis, hey, can you just tell me, what does Emmanuel do? What would it look like? And when during my specific disease process should I give you guys a call? So overall, hospice is covered when somebody is no longer seeking aggressive treatment and two physicians agree that they have about a 6-month prognosis. So we come on board. A lot of times we find people end up living, if they come on sooner rather than later, they live a lot longer than 6 months. It is not uncommon for us to have somebody that's been on for a year. We've had people that have been on for 2 years and then have graduated off of hospice. So you can come off and on hospice as many times as you want. You can change your mind. Maybe you're on board with hospice for a cancer diagnosis because there are no more treatments, but 2 months down the road, you hear of a brand new clinical trial that you want to do. You can just revoke your benefit, come back onto hospice later when you need us.
Wow, that's huge. And I don't think a lot of people really understand that. So if I'm understanding you
Right.
correctly, hospice is not a death sentence, and it
Correct.
doesn't mean that now I'm committed and I'm stuck here. So it's an
Correct.
opportunity to actually rest. It's an opportunity for respite for family and friends too. And it's an and people actually can get better and live
Hmm.
longer and healthier with your support. So leading into that, it does support. Let's talk about other ways that it really helps support the family as a whole then.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you come onto hospice, you have, of course, the support of the medical director, and you can keep your primary care physician. So we work in collaboration with that person. You'll be assigned an RN case manager that visits minimally once a week, and more often if you have, a symptom that needs a little bit more management until we get everything in place. You've got a social worker. You have a home health aide that can help with, showers. Maybe you don't need that right now, but it's just companionship for an hour or so. They can do nails. They can help you shave, do a little light, housekeeping, change sheets on the bed, some things like that. Spiritual care, which is so important. People always say, "Oh, I don't need that. I don't need that." But they do a lot of life review. So it's not somebody coming in preaching to you. It's talking about, your life in general. A lot of people, when they reach the end of life, start thinking, what was my purpose here? Or, I'm afraid of dying. What should I expect? And while everybody's death is different, the spiritual care person can help allay some of those fears and just walk that journey with them. And then we also have our bereavement team, and a lot of times we do anticipatory grief. So could be spouse, children, grandchildren. We meet them where they're at and then walk that journey with them. So just helping wherever we can and supporting the family. Some of the things that we do, bringing patient wishes together, I mean, it can be something that the whole family is involved in, and they have a wonderful memory once their loved one passes, that it's not remembering that person sick in bed all the time. It's like, gosh, do you remember when we took grandma to the barn and she was able to pet the horses and brush them, and we stood there for an hour and 2 hours, and then we went and had the special dinner, something like that. So just bringing those memories to the forefront.
That's beautiful. So to clarify, when you say you bring in people, you're bringing them into their own home. So as hospice,
Yeah.
it's in home or where they're living, and you really structure it around that, as well
Yes.
as the anticipatory grief and the life review. That's huge. I work
Yeah.
with that a lot too, and that's the support that you bring and the ability to facilitate those experiences while the person is still alive creates so much healing around the family. So if I'm understanding you correctly, hospice is not something to be feared. It's actually
Right.
it's a precious gift that actually helps support the family through really intense times. It takes the pressure off emotionally, it takes the pressure off spiritually, and it takes the pressure off financially by bringing in qualified professionals to
Right.
assist through a time that's really scary and unknown, and a lot of people are not equipped to, or they don't know their options, and so you bring in
Right.
options and help.
Yep.
And again, it's not a life sentence, it's an opportunity that people actually can get better than. So you really help people see the gift of the time that they have left, and to utilize and make the most of the time that they have left. Would
Yep,
that be
exactly
clear?
right. Exactly right. Matter of fact, our brochure or our little pamphlet says, "How do you want to live?" And we really ask everybody when we start care, how do you want to live? Or do you have any goals? What are you wanting to do? And we work those goals into our care plan so we can try to help the family and the patient meet those goals.
That's beautiful. Well, and you talked a lot about too, because yeah, you've said it's not about death, it's about living your best life and making that happen. Let's talk about a little bit more about how Emmanuel is different. Not only do you keep them in the home, but you help if they have to move somewhere, you
Mhm.
do your best to make it the most comfortable and convenient for the family so that everyone can grieve together and be together. Like, will you share a little bit more about that?
Yes, yes. I would say typically maybe less than 2% of all of the patients we care for end up needing to go somewhere where the family just can't care for them any longer in their home. And we can work with all of the local skilled nursing communities where we have contracts everywhere to find a place that's close to home that fits their needs and move them in there where our team will still go there. Family now can go there, but they're not caregiving all the time. Now they're back to being a daughter, they're back to being a spouse, someone that you can just enjoy your time with, and then all the care is provided for them. So, yeah,
Well, I wanted to go deeper into what you just said because I
yes,
don't think when people die at home, there's so much pressure on the person living with them and the caregiver that is assigned to them that really it makes it hard for them to both be the caregiver and grieve. And so what I'm really hearing you help understand too, or taking from this, is how much you support the caregiver so that it allows the caregiver to also enjoy that time and grieve and be present with it, which takes so much pressure off the family.
yes, that is correct. We are, and we work as a interdisciplinary team. So, our aide may go in to do the shower and she might notice, gosh, the wife is really struggling. So she's going to call that RN case manager who's going to call the bereavement team and the social worker and say, I think we really need to get in there with early bereavement and she's really struggling. We need to help her. And then also, what hospice can do, if we're caring for somebody in their own home and they have a caregiver, we can do a 5-day respite stay that is covered at 100% in a skilled nursing community. So that caregiver can just, take some time for themselves. Sometimes they might have a wedding they need to go to or something like that, a graduation, and they can be recharge, so to speak, for those 5 days. And then we bring their loved one back home. And, all of the transportation, everything is covered by hospice.
That's amazing and beautiful. And the caregivers, yeah, there's the respite comes in multiple forms as well. Not only does it help the caregiver, but if there is certain things like UTIs or that amplify, you're able to step in and help with that too. I know in my experiences when I've been working in homes that there's certain instances like that really require medical help, and
Exactly.
you're able to offer that too, which is it's a lot of times don't people don't discover that experience until they're in it and are not sure what to do. So being prepared for UTIs and different things that happen, or
Hmm.
being conscious of the bowel movements and different
Right.
aspects that can be challenging during end of life, you're able to step in and really take the pressure off the family as well as the person and give both parties a much more comfortable experience.
Yep, absolutely right. When somebody signs on to service with us, we become the new 911 call. So if you think, when somebody's very ill, getting them out to the doctor's office or to the emergency room, it's taxing, it's hard, it's stressful for the patient, for the family. And so we bring all the medical care to them. Now, if they have a UTI, if they have some kind of infection, absolutely, we're going to treat that with antibiotics. That's part of being comfortable. If they were to fall at home and, maybe cut themselves or, break something, sometimes a hip is fractured, they still call us. We do a triage and we can determine if they need to go to the hospital. We will get an ambulance there and one of our nurses will meet them at the hospital. So they're not running them through all the different tests and everything because they are on hospice. They just need to be stitched up and brought home. If they've broken a hip, they can choose to have that surgically repaired. They would just revoke your hospice benefit while they're in the emergency room. And then they can call us before they go back home and we can sign them back on. So we're right there with them when they arrive at home.
So again, to anyone watching this, understand the benefits of hospice are actually there to support you in ways that most people don't understand until it's too late. It's an incredible service of incredibly caring people. And with the comfort care too, not only do you offer all of these medical benefits and support with that aspect of it, but you take a holistic approach that is different than a lot of places. One, trying your best to keep people in their house, and like you said, you keep 98% of the people where they are. Um,
Mhm.
Tell me a little bit about the holistic stuff and the different modalities that you bring in too to really help people be comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. We have found that massage therapy is so great, with just all of the hormones that circulate. It's also great for symptom management with edema if somebody has a heart condition. So we employ two full-time board certified massage therapists. We also employ two full-time board certified music therapists, which is super great for somebody who has cognitive decline, Alzheimer's, maybe they're non-speaking, non-verbal, but we find through music, they'll lip the words, or maybe even when we're done with that therapy session, they can even speak a couple words.
Wow.
Oh, it's super cool to watch that, especially for a spouse. Yeah, and I've seen it. We have had a couple that had massage, or not massage, sorry, music therapy. It was like at 11 o'clock. They were both in assisted living, 11 o'clock, and they came together in their room. And the husband was really nonverbal, but he could sing "You Are My Sunshine" to her, and that was so important for her. So it was a very beautiful thing that we were able to do. Um, we are very different in those holistic aspects. We also bring on essential oils, and we have pet visitors. We also have virtual reality, which can just transport you anywhere in the world, or even the International Space Station. So you can even do a patient wish if you're not able to get out. We did that for a gentleman who'd never been to Meyer Gardens and wanted to do the tour. So we took the goggles there and got it all recorded for him, so he could literally lay in his bed and look around and see and hear all of the things that were going on at Meyer Gardens. So it's
That's
kind of like
amazing.
a little escape, or if you will.
Yeah, the
So
fact that that your team does that for people is incredible. And so it's more than just hospice. Like you're really helping the family heal, deal with grief, deal with things that most of us are not trained or equipped to deal with or to move
right.
through, as well as making it comfortable and fulfilling people's last wishes and legacies. That's exciting and beautiful and a gift.
Yeah, it is. It's truly amazing of what Emmanuel Hospice does. And we are nonprofit. And so we have a foundation, and that's how we can raise funds, because we're nonprofit. And so that all goes, every fund we raise goes to all of those things that Medicare doesn't cover, but we feel are so important to that patient and their families that we want to provide that for them. And then we're also an interfaith. So we care for every faith out there, with our roots being Catholic and Christian Reformed, Methodist, and Protestant. But we meet people where they're at in their faith, and or no faith. Some people, there's everybody's spiritual. They may not have a faith, but everybody has a spirit. And so we meet them where they're at with that spiritual journey.
So everyone is very individualized. It's a very personalized plan for each family. There's
Yes,
no blanket plan. It's very
correct.
customized, very personal, very intentional, if I'm understanding
Yes.
you correctly.
That is correct. And those care plans are changing all the time. Changes based on, oh, you're getting a little bit better now. You're feeling better. We can back off on this. Let's add this. Or we need, sometimes people are like, I want everything. That all sounds great. And then we start bringing all these people, and they're like, it's too much. It's too many people. So we'll pull back, and we don't have to do that many things. So yeah, they are all in charge. We don't come in and take away all of your medications. We're going to talk to the patient and the family. Here's what we're thinking. You really don't need, XYZ. Let's use these medications instead. Or, you really don't need them at all. So we want to make the body as happy, so to speak, as we can. And sometimes adding in a lot of extra medications is more taxing on someone than not having those. So
Beautiful. So again, the whole objective is meet people where they are and how can this be the most graceful and peaceful experience for both them and their family and working together. It's a great opportunity.
yeah, it is. It truly is.
Um I feel like we've just flown through all of this.
I
Do you have
know.
anything? Do you have anything else that you would love to share or add about Emmanuel Hospice and the gifts that they
Yeah.
bring? Because I know that you also have a network of people that can come in and help on multiple levels, whether it's spatial or whatever needs to be done with the home. You can connect them to the right people if there needs to be what is the word I'm looking for? If we need to do upgrades or for handicap accessory or things need to change to be able to accommodate the new tools to assist people in the home with that.
Right. Yes, that's perfect. Yeah. And that is where our social workers are so important. They can come in. If you don't have funeral plans, they can help you get those funeral plans in place, end of life doctrines in place. They can get, anything that you need, all the services. And maybe you're great to stay in your own home, but your wife, your spouse, your caregiver needs, a few hours a week, and we can help you find private duty aides that can come in just for maybe 2 hours at a time, twice a week. So someone can go grocery shopping or get their hair done, or just step out and have a cup of coffee with a friend and come back a little more recharged. Also, what I want to mention to people is there's a financial benefit to hospice. As I mentioned before, it is covered 100% by Medicare, and most commercial insurances have a hospice benefit. But when you come on board with hospice, hospice takes over the payment or the cost of all the medications for hospice. That includes anything for your disease process, pain medication, anxiety medication, constipation, diarrhea, anything like that. We also cover durable medical equipment. So if you were to need a hospital bed, maybe an alternating pressure mattress so you don't get bed sores, over tray table that goes over the bed on wheels, a bedside commode, oxygen, wheelchair, any of those things, hospice then covers. So that is no longer something that family has to pay for. If they're renting, we take over that for them too. I'm trying to think what else we cover. I mean, it's
Well, in
just
my experience, the hospice also covered diapers, catheters, and all of the things that
right.
the
Yep.
the hot that privately paid for. That stuff is
Yes.
really expensive and consuming, and a lot of times, the families I worked with were not trained on how to work with that stuff. And so hospice not only provides that stuff, it also provides training and help with
Right.
how to use this stuff and what the best there's a lot that goes into it that
Yes.
one can't imagine that you
Exactly.
offer
Right.
and give, and that
Hmm.
it does save the money a ton of family or a ton of money, as
Yeah.
well as time and energy and fear. It really helps the family move through fear because now they're getting training on things that are scary, and they're
Right.
becoming, you help them be comfortable with what's happening versus scared, because it is
Right.
scary when
It
you
is
are doing
scary.
this, when you're working with a catheter or diapers or different stuff for the first time, or it's terrifying at points. And so to be able to work through that with trusted people who do it for a living and professionals that really help that process be comfortable is huge. It's really
Yes.
huge. It's a
Yeah.
financial saving, but it's an emotional saving as well.
Correct. Yeah. We do a lot of training with our families. And with the Emmanuel Hospice, if you call us after hours, the phone is answered by a hospice nurse. It's not answered by, an answering service that's, now has to ring a hospice nurse to call you back. They can triage for you while you're on the phone. They can tell you, if you have a comfort pack in your home, the medications, what to do to try this. Call back in 20 minutes. Let us know how it goes. If it's not working, they're going to send a nurse out. Could be 3 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't matter. A nurse is going to come. So you truly are not alone. You're not walking this journey alone. You have that resource whenever you feel like you might need, hey, I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. Call us. We always say, call us whenever you have questions or concerns, because that's what we're there for. So we can, just set aside your fears and your concerns.
I love that. That's so important. I didn't realize that you actually had nurses available 24/7. That's huge.
Yeah.
And so when it's scary or someone who wakes up in the middle of the night and they're not sure, there's
Right.
always someone that is qualified to be able to have access to assist the family members through whatever
Correct.
they're going through, which is huge.
Right, exactly. And it's not every hospice has an RN nurse that has access to that patient's chart answering the phone. It could be, it could be just an administrative assistant or something like that, that's then getting that person to the nurse. So less delay in care. So it works out
And
really
you
well for
said,
us.
if I heard you correctly, and in my past experience, there's packs that you leave with people and you train them on
Mhm.
how to use the stuff in the pack. So if there is an
Yes.
emergency, there are supplies there, as well
Yes.
as training on how to use the supplies, who to call. So it's not
Yep.
just support, it's training, and it's training, which is huge,
Right.
so that people
Yeah.
actually feel more comfortable and safe themselves staying with their loved one. It actually um makes it a more comfortable experience for everyone, because I know when I've been trained on something, of course we feel more comfortable and more confident and more secure, and when
Right.
we know that we can call somebody, that we have someone on call, that
Hmm.
it eases the tension for the family member that is in charge, and it
Yes.
allows, and it creates a space for more family members and friends to step up, knowing that they're not alone, and that it's
Right.
okay to have that fear, because you can move through the fear with support.
Hmm. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool.
And you mentioned too, like, when is a good time to call hospice? Anytime is a good time to call hospice because we do educational meetings all the time. We can do an educational meeting and an assessment and say, yep, your loved one is appropriate for hospice. We can bring them on and start them right now today. Or you can say, let's wait. Really waiting isn't, it does more damage than not waiting because you get all that benefit right away. But if they happen to not be quite eligible, we don't say, okay, you're not eligible, see you later. We leave a follow up care plan. So here's what, for your specific loved one, here's what you need to look for. Maybe more sleeping, losing weight, maybe withdrawing from, socialization and things like that, more infections, more falls. So anything like that. And then we're calling at regular intervals too to make sure everything is still going okay, but also let them know, things can change overnight, especially with a senior. You never, they can be fine one day and something happens overnight and you need us, 5 minutes ago. So we want to make sure that they all understand, you can call us at any time. We have done emergent emissions in the middle of the night. So people want to, what our goal really is to do is to educate the community on hospice. And we're really trying to stop that last hospitalization, which, you go there and there's nothing really they can do. They kind of get you settled a little bit and then they send you home. So let's just get you settled at home before you have to go out somewhere.
That's a beautiful thought process and goal, to help people feel
Yep.
comfortable and settled. So again, just because you call hospice does not mean that you're committing to hospice. It doesn't mean that you're stuck at hospice. It just means that you're getting education, and you now have a team of people that care about you and that are there to
Right.
support you without
Yes.
commitment. They're just because they actually care. And when
Right.
you're ready to commit, now you are comfortable, have a relationship, and have a way, because you even help people understand that. So you really
Mhm.
ease people's um, journey through the end and the final stages by helping them through something that we can't comprehend until we're in it.
Right, exactly. I mean, for example, we several years ago had a gentleman with cancer and he exhausted all of his treatments. Physician said you have about 6 months. And he said, call. So we got the referral and we were talking to him and he goes, well, I'm still working and I don't have any pain. Why do I need you right now? It's a great time to have us because you know what? You don't have to have all the things. You just have to have that nurse checking in with you. But what it does is you're building a relationship with that person. And once you do need us, there's trust built there. And it's not somebody new coming in going, I think you should do this. And you're like, oh, I don't know. So we're building a trustful relationship with that patient and the family. Even if you don't have to have pain to have hospice, you can still be work. We want you to work. We want you to play golf. We want you to do all the things that you can do until you can't do them anymore. And so that's really how we help you live.
Well, and in that aspect, when people have a relationship with you ahead of time and they're communicating with you when it's time, it's easier for you to step up and
Right.
offer them what they need without trying to figure it out in a heightened state of emotion, in a heightened state of whatever's happening. Because if people wait until it's till they think it's time, there's usually a heightened state of emotions and details get missed, and it makes it really there. I don't want to say hard, but it's a more comfortable experience for everyone the sooner that they can talk with you, because it's easier for you to assess the what the necessary needs and be able to serve them most effectively. Would that be a
Right.
good way to put it, so that people really understand
Exactly.
it's really about um, the sooner that we're willing to be vulnerable and ask for help, the
Mhm.
better help we will have, and the more
Right.
pleasant our experience will be.
Right. Exactly. I mean, even if you think about, if you get a headache, right? And it's like, oh, it'll be fine. So you wait and you wait and you wait before you take Tylenol or Advil or whatever it is you might take. But by the time you take it, it takes a lot more medication to get the pain under control. So if we're meeting with you before you're in all that pain, we don't need to use as much pain medication to get it, under control. So that's kind of our goal. Let's keep you as pain-free as possible with the least amount of medication that we need and enjoy life.
What a great analogy. Thank you,
Mhm.
Jan. This has been so
You're welcome.
informative. So, just to kind of recap our whole thing, hospice actually really is your best friend when
Yes.
it comes to that
Great.
aspect of your life. I'm going to say
Yeah.
that as have a practicing death doula and somebody who's worked in that. When I work with families, hospice, I want to call in sooner versus later, because they truly are so supportive in ways that most people can't even comprehend. The magnitude of what they bring and the relief that they bring to the families is huge. And the sooner that we can build that relationship, the better for both the patient and the family. And
Right.
especially
Exactly.
Emmanuel Hospice, because you take such a holistic approach and go out of your way to do um, modalities that not everyone does to improve the comfort care, which is huge.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Jan. And anyone that would like more information, her information will be in the comments below. Do you have any last words for anyone, for everyone?
Yeah, if I can leave one lasting impression on
Mhm.
everybody, it's just don't be afraid of hospice. It's a word. It's not like it was when it came out in the 70s and you waited till the very end. So when people start talking about hospice and I hear families go, "Oh, we need more time," they truly don't understand the benefit of hospice because we're not there to take your loved one away faster. We're there to give you as much time as possible with your loved one and to make it as happy and comfortable as possible.
So those needing more time for hospice, please understand that hospice is the one creating that time for you.
Right. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jan, and thank you all for watching.
Thank you, Willow. Appreciate your help.